Okay, welcome out to our weekly Mastermind call. I'm trying to unmute some lines here. Okay, I think I got it. Kristen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Kristen Fox? Hey, Kristen.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, I have a topic. We have a different topic we're going to discuss, but I'm just, I'm curious about something that I figured I'd ask. So, in your back office, you get to see, like, who your top performers are in any given month. And I'm looking at you, and you have over 10, let's see here, what is it, 10 enrollments? Yeah, you've enrolled 10 people this month. What are you doing?
Oh, Seth. I did a booth about a week ago, and
Yeah?
it's a pretty big deal booth. Oftentimes when I look at booths to see if it's going to be worth my time, I want to make sure there's at least 500 to 1,000 people coming through, just to make sure that there's a variety of people and that I'll have some chances. Well, with this booth in Kansas City, there's right around 30,000 people who pay to come to this event.
Wow.
And it's just a really beautiful display of really wealthy people shopping. And so, yeah, it is. So,
Okay.
so I called my upline, David and Julianne and Janet and Bernie, and they came and helped me with the booth. This is a booth that normally I have Courtney Moses help me with, and she instead watched my children so that I could attend the booth. And I was in the middle of moving at the time, and so it was pretty crazy. So this booth is something that, I don't know, lots of people come with lots of different reasons for coming to the booth. A lot of people just want to buy retail, and I use the retail purchases like I would a sample. And then if people are like, oh, that's really expensive, then I talk with them about the wholesale membership. And so that's why I have enrollments like that.
Okay, cool. Now I know that, in fact, I was just talking to Courtney Moses yesterday about this, but I know that going and doing booths, they can be successful or they can't, like anything. Do you have any tips for anybody that would like to do a booth and have it be a successful experiment for them?
Yeah. So the whole point of doing a booth is to help people learn about the oils and to attract people to what doTERRA has to offer. And so as long as you bring people, the only reason I would ever retail is to treat it like a sample. And a lot of people, I don't know, if you don't use the sample correctly, if you don't follow up, then you're just making 25% and you're just really hauling buckets. So for me,
so someone would buy an oil from you at retail, but to you that's a lead that you need to follow up with.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I ask them when they purchase it, I say, is it all right if I call you in a few days just to see how that's working, and if there might be something else that you would like to try? And if they say yes, then I follow up with them and I call them back. And so, of course, I'm always leading to the next conversation or to the next interaction. And ideally, I'm looking for them to be involved in a wholesale membership so that it can bless their lives on a way bigger scale. And so that's when I plug them into a class. I'll either do one online or in person, depending on where they're located. And so if people go into a booth with things in mind like that, like I'm going to talk with as many people as I can. I'm going to put oils on as many people as I can. I'm going to use every contact as a means to get them to the next presentation. I think that will be great. It's very effective. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being willing on last minute notice to share with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Now, the reason why I wanted to share that, I was talking to Courtney yesterday, and speaking of Courtney, I got a text from her this morning, and I asked her if it would be okay if I use the Mastermind call as a request for some prayer. She said, gosh, I haven't thought about it. I don't reject any prayers. And I do consider my doTERRA people my family and support group, and I trust them with my life. So if you feel so inclined, I would love to feel additional prayer and support for us today. So let me just tell you that Courtney's oldest son, Connor, he has a CT scan today. In fact, it's going to happen in about during this call, in about 30 minutes. And he may have a tumor. And if he does, then they will go into emergency surgery at 2, which will be in about 52 minutes. So I would like to just ask of those of you who believe in God, if you wouldn't mind just sending up some really sincere prayer in behalf of little Connor. And, of course, Courtney and her other 2 boys. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you. And hopefully that'll be something that we can all be supportive of her. Okay, now, when I was talking to Courtney yesterday, she mentioned something pretty awesome to me. She said that she was doing something at a booth that really got her. She said that there were 12 enrollments from a booth, and she mentioned a few things that made it just fly. And I feel like, I'm going to share these tips with anybody on the call that this might be helpful. First of all, she said the buyer's guide actually caused amazing results as opposed to just handing someone a form to fill out. It kind of helped them make a decision at a time, one decision at a time. And when she went through the buyer's guide and got to the portion where it asked them if they would like to be a wellness advocate and have a money option, creating an income, or just a wholesale customer, and that she ended up getting 2 builders out of it as well, people that saw that and were really excited. So I thought that was great. But the other thing that but she changed it up enough where I asked her, okay, so what were you doing? What was the language you were using? And I thought it was just such fantastic language. But she said that she, like Kristen, she actually led with retail pricing. And then when people wanted to buy the oils, she would say, no, we have a special going on today where you can buy it at retail, or if you want to get a wholesale membership, it costs $35. However, today, she created some urgency with it, and she said, today, if you get a wholesale membership or get a kit, you can get the kit instead, not at retail price, but at wholesale price, and we will give you your membership for free, along with an essential oil book, the actual the books, the Modern Essentials book. And so she gave and people just, boy, they used it. They signed up much more. So I'm actually going to try that approach in some of my classes. I think that could work in helping people see the benefit of making a decision a little bit more quickly. Okay, those were just some prerequisites to or some things I wanted to get out at the beginning of the call. Now, what do we want to do with this particular call? I want to actually ask those who have made this journey, how many hours per week were you putting into your business when you went silver? If you've gone silver and you wouldn't mind sharing, just hit *5* to raise your hand. How many hours per week did you put into your business to reach the rank of silver? Now, you could have reached the rank in a short amount of time or a long period of time. But how much time were you putting in per week to make it a reality? That's my question. And, by the way, just so everybody knows, I'm also going to ask the same question about gold, about diamond, blue diamond, and and I guess I could even say presidential. So be prepared for those questions as well. how much time, just per week, how much time are you putting in to reach those ranks? And I could even say maintain the rank as well. Okay, we got a lot of shyness happening. I'm going to encourage everyone, if you have some thoughts, raise your hand. How much time are you putting in?
This is Anne Godbold.
Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Dan. Yep.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was kind of what I was averaging. As I want to do it fast.
Okay, you're breaking up, so I didn't hear what you just said. What were you saying?
So when I hit silver, I committed to 12 hours per week, and it kind of ranged, so it's kind of hard to say what the time was, but that's about the time it was. And yeah, I did.
So, sorry again, your line is a little choppy. How much time per week? Sorry.
12 hours per week.
12 hours. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Angie, what are your thoughts?
Oh, sorry, I was muted too, so that didn't help anything. I'd muted my phone. But, well, when I had decided to go silver, I decided in September after going to convention the first time in 2013, and I wanted to go to leadership. So I worked hard. I worked 40 to 50 hours a week and was able to build my rank to silver in 4 months, or build my business to a silver rank in 4 months. And
okay.
So I did it quick, fast, but I will say I'm still at silver, so. But I'm looking for builders. Yeah. I'm working hard to find builders is what is my situation. So
can I ask, so can I ask what how much time did you, after you reached silver, in that 4 month period of time, how much time have you put into your business since then that's kept you at silver?
That's kept me at silver? Well, see, that's the thing. To keep me at silver, I wouldn't have to put that many hours in, but of course I'm still trying to build. So I'm out there trying to find people for my organization and outside of my networks. But if I just had to maintain, it was not.
Well, let's not do that. Let's say that you just with how much time do you think you're putting into your business right now as you're trying to go to the next rank?
As I'm trying to go, I'm going to say about 25 to 30 hours a week.
Okay.
That's
all right. Thank you,
where
Angie.
I'm at. And yes, you're welcome. Thanks.
You bet. Did you have another thought you wanted to share?
Oh, there's, I'm not including necessarily my travel time. I've been traveling a little bit out of state and some things like that. I'm not including some of that, but I'm really trying to do about 5 to 6 hours a day of productive, concentrated efforts on my business. And then there is some traveling involved there that I'm not including.
Wow. Okay.
But you wouldn't necessarily you wouldn't necessarily have to travel, right? So.
Right. Okay. Thank you,
okay,
Angie.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, Jacqueline, what insights can you give us?
So, to reach silver rank, I would try to teach one class a week or 1 to 2, like 2 one-on-ones. So, that's what I did as far as, and I don't know, however much time it takes, 1 to 2 hours per class or one-on-one. And I did that.
Well, it takes so let's say that it took you 2 hours to do the class, but that's not the hard part. The hard part is getting people to the class, right?
Right. So I guess I'm just trying to say that I could only dedicate one evening, or sometimes I'd take a Saturday a week, And so I just made sure that I was teaching one class a week or 2 one-on-ones. Like I tried to reach out to 2 people. So let's say that's about 4 hours. And then, of course, there was being mentored, mentoring other people, being on the team calls. So that would have been, I would guess 10 to 12 hours is what I was spending. And that was reaching rank. Now, I had an active upline that was helping in other, my sister Heidi was helping a bunch in Texas. Now, keep in mind that in order to reach silver, all I needed was like $1,000 in volume in Texas, and she was building them too. Like she was building my sister-in-law to silver, and beyond, right? Helping her,
right.
with that. So, to reach rank, that's what I was spending, if I was adding up like what my upline did. But again, if you're thinking just silver rank, I really didn't, her time and energy in Texas was well beyond what I needed to be silver. If we're just thinking rank.
So
I actually took that approach.
So you were saying that you put in about 4 hours a week into teaching, and then about 10 to 12 into mentoring and other things like that?
No, not that much. Probably another 4.
You're saying total.
5. Yeah, so it would have been about, I would say 9 to 10 hours. And that's really the pace I kept all the way up to platinum. That was the pace I was keeping. And then when I wanted to get beyond, and I was never a solid platinum, so really that was getting me like a solid gold organization. And then when I wanted to go beyond platinum and diamond, I was working probably, that 15 to 30 hours that the chart says. I was working that or more.
How much, honestly, what were you doing to get to diamond? Like, how much time do you think you were putting into your business?
Well, instead of like one class a week, I was, trying to do 3 or 4 classes a week. And sometimes I would travel. I'm not like on a plane, but I was traveling maybe 3 to 4 hours driving somewhere and then 3 to 4 hours back.
Right.
But
so
generally I was...
So it sounds like it's over 30 hours to me.
Right, to reach diamond. And then I would say, but I wasn't traveling 3 to 4 hours. That was like once a month. The rest of the time I was traveling about an hour, so 2 hours of travel time to every class. So if I was doing 3 to 4 classes, let's say I was doing 4 classes or one-on-ones in a week, 2 hours of travel time, 2 hours per class. I'd been 8 hours of teaching and traveling, and then I spend a significant amount of time mentoring people. And so that would probably be another 8. So I think I think, and then for that 1 week when I would travel 3 to 4 hours, then obviously that week was up 30 or higher. But I think that 15 to 30 hour range is pretty accurate to what I was spending if I average the whole month.
Okay.
Which is amazing, by the way, to be able to get the kind of income level of a diamond working like that. That's amazing.
No, yes, it is amazing. And what makes it difficult is that most people are doing that while holding down full-time other, responsibilities. Full-time jobs plus tacking on another 30 hours, or taking care of their family, getting all the kids taken care of to school, and, in your case, homeschooling and all these different things, and tacking on another 30 hours. That was that's where it feels Herculean. Okay. Thank you. What other, anybody else, does anybody else want to share? Maybe you could just share your whole journey. How much time were you putting in to get to silver, gold, diamond, or above? That is the question. Jody Ashford, go ahead.
Hi. It's like forever since I've spoke on these calls. So when I got Huh?
It's
Anyway,
good to hear from you.
Thank you. So, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little emotional here. So going into being sober, I was putting a lot of time in. I was doing, I owned my own salon then. I think that along with the Salon Plus family, I was probably doing 3 or 4 classes a week. And so I'm not really sure what that would calculate to, to get to silver. It took me another 2 years almost, not quite, to get to gold, and I was probably doing about the same. But what I want to share
Sorry,
now
what
at
time?
this point,
Sorry, how much? Sorry. How much time?
Probably about the same. But at that point, we've got people now doing this.
Yeah, but I didn't catch it.
Gold.
Sorry, I didn't catch it to begin with.
Oh,
so how much
3
time
to
are you
4
putting
nights
into
a
your
week.
business per week?
Yeah, 3 to 4 nights a week. So I'd say probably 15 to 20 hours a week.
Okay, so 15 to 20, and that took you to silver and the gold, right?
And the gold, right? Because I really didn't adjust much between.
And you also,
as far as
and then you
timeline.
also had and then you had a salon that was your own salon, and you were running that as well.
Yes, yeah, right at that time, and right after we reached gold is about 3 months later, and then I shut the salon down in order to take more focus on to doTERRA. We haven't gone past gold. We're still at gold. We're reaching for platinum. Sorry, I think I'd get. I don't know why I even raised my hand. This is so dumb. So yesterday was my last day at my job. But doing hair. And this is why. My goals were much bigger, and for what we were trying to do with doTERRA on a weekly basis, being able to maintain goals was enough. But what I've realized is that there's absolutely no way I can get to platinum, diamond, blue, or even presidential. No way that I can do it with just a few hours that I've been putting in a week. There's no way. It's easy to maintain it. We can go with that. We've been comfortable. But at this point, much more time has to be put in from gold to get to platinum. I have found that there's a huge margin between gold and even platinum to be able to reach that next level. And there's just been no way that we can actually put in the time and the ability to do it to be able to reach a platinum level while working on a full-time job at the same time. So with that being said, I guess that's just mostly what I want to share is it's like it was easy, not really easy, but, simpler to be, about 20 hours a week to be able to reach that level of gold. But at this point, it's going to be much more to be able to reach those next levels. There's more people on your team. There's more stewardship to have control, to be over. And there's a different level between those. And I personally think that as I've quit my job now and I will be full-time doing doTERRA, that 40 hours a week or more, well, maybe not quite more, but at least at 40 hours a week, we'll be able to see ourselves going to that platinum level and even diamond much quicker than we've anticipated trying to do it with a job.
Yes, you're right. I agree, actually. Thank you, Jody, and congrats on making that type of decision. That's a big, big step. We have a 530 area code, and I just unmuted your line. What is your name, and what insight can you offer?
Can you hear me? This is Nancy Ford.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
What I wanted to share was that, I hit silver in February. And something that I think is really important to contribute to this is that at that time I was working full-time. So I was doing about 10 hours a week committed to my doTERRA business. But I hit silver in a month where we had a special, the buy one, get one, I believe. And so during that week, I had put probably like 20 hours into my doTERRA business, really, hustling those offers to my current customers. And that boosted my volume for me to hit silver that month. But the important thing is that I wasn't able to maintain silver, and I have not hit silver again since then. And I kind of hit this like high, I rank advanced. I was really excited. And then, honestly, like for 2 or 3 months after that, really just went back to the 10 hours a week. So I wasn't able
Mm-hmm.
to, it wasn't organic that I hit silver. I hit it because of, this push. And I didn't keep that momentum going, which had I looked back and had I maybe pushed myself up to maybe 15 hours a week every month since, that rank advance, I probably would have had a much easier time sustaining that rank. Now,
Yep.
I'm putting about 25 hours a week, I would say, on average into my business, but I've also decided to go outside of my warm market. Networking has been really important for me. So not only am I forecasting solidifying silver, but also hitting gold. So even though my near future goal, like I want to be at leadership. So I need to make sure that I sustain silver in November and December, but I want to go for gold as well. So I'm stepping the time that I'm putting into my business up considerably. And the time I'm spending is not just supporting my current customer base, but also going outside and finding a new network of people.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy. That's very, very insightful and exactly what I'm looking for, is this kind of just blunt honesty. This is really helpful.
Thank you.
Virginia Hume, I just unmuted your line. Go ahead.
I've had to learn to do the right activities. I wasn't organic to start with, and I had to learn to gain skills so that I was a solid silver. I had someone leave my organization. I had to regroup that. And so I barely made it the first year for leadership. The next year I was organic silver. The next year was barely gold. The next year I was solid gold. And learning to be consistent with 631, using the membership overviews, understanding the cues being given to me when I need to do the business overview too. And as I've gained the skills that labors, and I put in about 40 hours a week, but partly it's just my learning style and needs is part of that, so others probably could do it in half that amount. That's what's helping me, and having a stronger belief. I have a strong why, but a belief that I actually can do it. Still struggle with some computer skills. I work with it, but I watch all the rest of you, and you are just grease lightning on that stuff. I'm kidding. How did that work? Comment I had often. But anyway, it's just there are lots of people that need our tool is, and be consistent and keep doing your stuff.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. So would you say that you were putting in 40 hours a week from the very beginning in that entire journey?
Most of the time. There were some times it was a little bit less because I was helping my daughters and daughters-in-law with having babies. So I would go on the back burner for 5 or 10 hours a week when I was helping them at a different state and then going back. But that's true. But I wasn't as productive or wasn't, how do I say this, attracting people with the strong willingness to do business. Happy product users, got lots of those. But I also work with comics. So there's some unique differences in working with them that most of you guys don't deal with at all. So there's some uniquenesses in my organization that the rest of you don't deal with.
Yeah. No, okay, so thank you. Thanks, Virginia. Okay, Alonso, go ahead.
Okay, so before we start discussing hours, it's all about knowing where you want to be, right? And I want people to really take a hold of this, because if you understand like the cash flow quadrant, everything that I'm going to say will make sense, right? So at the very beginning, we knew that we wanted to go full out, reach the highest that we could be, and originally we started with the goal of presidential diamond, right?
Yeah.
And for us to reach that goal of presidential diamond, we were willing to do whatever it took to know like the little nuances of how to build a business, right? Like the teaching the classes, the inviting, all that stuff that leads to enrollment. And with that first step, we were able to do that in a short amount of time. So we were able to do that in like 3 months because we had focused effort and we knew where we were going. So that was on average probably around almost like a full-time job, like 40 hours a week in that time frame, right?
Yep.
And when we made the progression to getting better at classes, getting better at certain things, and we were getting more and more enrollment, it became stable. It became the organic silver instead of the duct tape silver that most people are like in a situation to be on at the very beginning of building a business.
Yep.
Now, if we had that mindset still of however many hours I put into the business is what I'm going to get out of it, we would never have advanced past silver, if that makes sense. Because for you to advance past silver it's no longer a time trade. It's no longer I work this many hours, I get this amount of compensation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had to understand the system and the process which we lived for that span of where we were first silver, now organic silver. We understood the system and the process, and then we taught it to other people that were willing to get the same cookie that now we have, right?
Yep.
And this is the difference between active income and passive income. So like you take a look at, say, like a McDonald's, for example. No matter how many hours you work as an employee or as a manager, like you could work 24 hours a day. You'll never get to actually owning a franchise if you don't let yourself go out of that situation. Like you'll never earn passive income because no amount of hours are going to get you there. You're going to have to transition from doing like the work to either coming up with a process or teach people how to follow the system and the process that's already existed. And the more you do that, the more you now have a higher capacity to be able to earn bigger residual income. To now, like, as a organic diamond, by the 15th of the month, we're spending way less time actually doing like the work. Yeah, we're still sharing the oils. Yes, we're still teaching classes. Yes, we're still enrolling people. But that's not the focus of our activity. Our focus in our activity is in showing people more and more of how the system and the process works, because that's where the power comes in. Because think of like a franchise, right? Take McDonald's, for example, or if you don't like McDonald's, take Starbucks. The way Starbucks and McDonald's expand is through multiple franchises all throughout, like, say, like the city, throughout the state, and throughout the country. And that's what you want when it comes to building a strong doTERRA organization to, like, say, like a presidential or even a diamond organization. You're going to have multiple franchises, not just in your location, but also beyond, like, your own location. You have to expand.
Yes. Perfect. So, so there's a few things, Alonso, that you said that I think I appreciate you bringing up because it is right. The first thing is that no matter what time you're putting into your business, you need to know what it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you're just putting in time without any vision for where you're going to go, you can be very busy but never retire. And, you know, you can, I think that was a great insight, into that. Now, since we've discussed all of this, I wanted to go through that exercise so that everybody could kind of hear this for a couple of reasons. The first thing is I think Jody Ashford kind of taught us something really important. Or I guess what she did is she demonstrated a principle that we've talked about on previous calls. And that is that in order to, remember the 4 decisions we've talked about at length at times, the decision to get started, the decision to keep going when you find out how hard it is, the decision to let go, and the decision to go big. Jody right now is making the decision to let go. She realizes that in order to go big, she's going to have to let go of something that she loves to do, which is her salon, because she understands where she's going. And like Alonto just taught us is that from the beginning, see the thing that Alonto and Desiree are teaching us is that if you decide to go big from the beginning, then it's pretty like they're putting in the time. I mean, he was saying full time, 40 hours a week. One thing that Jacqueline taught us as I was listening to this, Jacqueline put in the least amount of time of anyone that I heard, in that she was putting in 9 to 10 hours per week to go to silver, but it took her 15 to 30 hours per week to go to gold, or to diamond, excuse me. And the only thing I want to say is I've always admired the fact that in the last couple of years on these mastermind calls, when I listened to Jacqueline, she said, because her husband was not supportive of her doing doTERRA initially, she only had a certain amount of time that she could give her business, and so she only did the things that were the most valuable to her business. And the only reason I bring that up is because Virginia mentioned this as well, that in whatever time that you're giving your business, you have to strategically think about what is the most powerful use of your time. What activities are you going to do? And Virginia mentioned the 631. The 631 is a fantastic way for you to make sure that all of the obligations are being met to your business, but you also have to think strategically about where you're going with the big picture in mind. So, Rod, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Am I unmuted?
So, yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay.
So the thing I wanted to just discuss with you for a moment is, we were talking about the topic of this call, and you mentioned to me just, previously this morning, you were saying what we're finding out across the board is people just aren't putting in the time. And what would you say you've learned from this exercise, like with the answers we got from the people who have reached these ranks?
That time's required. That there has to be a point of dedication and seriousness about the business. I find it interesting. I did kind of a flash survey in one of the events that I was in, where I asked people how much time their kids who babysit actually spend babysitting. And
oh yeah.
It was interesting, that most people's children were spending a more concentrated effort on babysitting as a profession than a lot of wellness advocates are in terms of being a wellness advocate. And so I guess in that regard, it just speaks to the results speak to itself, into why we're able to progress or not progressing, or in the vast majority of the time it's simply just not enough dedication and not enough investment of time.
Right. Now, one other thing that I heard Alonto say that I think actually speaks to the reason why he and Desiree have been so successful in becoming Blue Diamond is, I noticed that he mentioned you need to understand the system and the process and teach it to your team. Has that been kind of fascinating for you to notice as well that, like, you were mentioning to me earlier today that there are people that actually use the Edge system, but they don't really understand the process completely. Why is that important?
Well, Alonto's right, because in terms of duplication, the system is what creates duplication. And in the early days, before we had all of these great tools, what would happen is we could do the business with a legal pad, but what was happening is that was transferring to my direct leadership, and then it was breaking down on the second level. And then was non-existent past that. In other words, it couldn't duplicate past the people that had that capability or understanding. And so it wasn't until the tools arrived that duplication started occurring down in depth. And so, if you're looking at maximizing the use of time, for example, a person could say they're engaged in doTERRA all day, but if they're fishing around on Facebook looking for leads, or they're polishing up a website, or they're doing any number of other types of activities that are anything aside from inviting somebody to learn about oils, teaching an oil class, going over a membership, or teaching, explaining the business to someone, or mentoring a team member, the time is really not very effectively used. And so the integration of the system and the tools actually frees up more time. And if you want to use time highly efficiently, then it comes back to the 631, which are all systems related. But in regard to what you were saying, the thing that I found astounding is even teams that are Edge team and system users still not having or even utilizing parts of the tool sets. For example, maybe not doing business overviews, or maybe not even having any of the getting started guides, and then oftentimes wondering why there's difficulty getting builders started, or can't identify people that are building, or why aren't people on loyalty rewards, or maybe they're not getting their classes closed down very efficiently because they're not using the buyer's guide for whatever reason, and so that's. So those are the two big things that I had from this. I just came back from a pretty significant tour, pretty much across the country, and almost universally there was the two glaring issues are not enough time invested, which is also reflected in lack of commitment and dedication to the cause. Just not enough, just not focused on it enough. And then the second part is failure to integrate the system or utilize the tool sets that are available. And I was just fascinated at how these things can be talked about all the time, over and over and over again, but people still not know how to enter the system. And again, but I think that comes largely from the first issue, which is lack of focus and attention, lack of dedication and commitment. And because if it just doesn't matter to you, you're not looking for the gateway. You're not looking to be efficient. There's too many doubts or whatever in the way.
Yes. Now I'm going to ask this question of the Blue Diamonds on the call. we have a handful of us here. The question is this: is it harder to maintain a diamond organization or I'm trying to figure out how to. Well, let me just give you the answer, okay? I'm just going to give you the answer. True retirement happens at Blue Diamond. So if you've reached Diamond and you've been really pleased with that, that's actually one of the hardest. In fact, I noticed on this call today that everybody talked about the time that they put into their business when they were getting to the diamond rank, or anyone that did that, and they were putting in pretty big amounts of time. And I'm just telling you that after Blue Diamond happened for me, that the amount of time that you put into your business dramatically shrinks. And the same thing with Presidential Diamond, that after you reach the rank, the time required to maintain the rank is much, much less than the time required to maintain a silver organization when you feel like a duct tape silver. And there's a reason for that. So I want everybody to just kind of imagine, if you've got a business overview, you can kind of look at the ranks on the back side of that. But if you think of the ranks, the leadership ranks in the company. So if you think of a silver, for example, a silver has 3 teams that have reached elite. So when you think about what kind of commitment level it takes to reach elite, a person could be elite with a relatively low commitment level. Therefore, if you're a silver, you are a leader of people who are builders, right? You're a leader of 3 people who are committed builders. Now let's look at the gold rank. And there's a massive difference between the ranks of silver and gold. And that's why I was at a leadership, it's called the Presidential Pursuit. It's for diamonds and above. And at that particular diamond and above, one of the presidential diamonds, Teresa Harding's husband, I can't remember his name. Anyway. Roger Harding, that's right. So he was saying, he goes, have you guys ever seen a golden diamond? And we're like, what? And he goes, the people in doTERRA, when they reach diamond, that they kind of fall back to gold, platinum, diamond. So once you hit diamond, many times people they're golden diamonds, right? They're in between those ranks. Okay. Now, if you think about this, in order to become a gold, you need to be the leader of 3 leaders. And each of those 3 leaders are leading 2 builders because they're premier, right? So premier is leading 2 teams that are executives. So you're leading 2 builders. Now, if you think about a platinum or even a diamond, you are a leader of 3 or 4 leaders of 3 people who are builders. So again, if you think about it, you're a leader of leaders of builders. Okay? That's the same thing. As a silver, you're a leader of builders. As a gold and platinum and diamond, you are a leader of leaders of builders. But then you hit blue or presidential, and there's a big difference between these ranks, in those ranks, and the reason why is because in order to be a blue or a presidential, you need to be a leader of leaders of builders. You're a leader of leaders of leaders of builders. There's 3 levels of leadership. And because you have that much commitment and leadership happening in your organization, when you hit blue in presidential, this is when you actually put in far less time into your business than you do even as someone who's trying to maintain silver or gold. And this is why as I was sitting here listening to people I'll tell you, like Angie Sherman, when you were sharing your experience, I cried a little bit inside for you because I'm like, oh my gosh, if she with a little bit more focus, she would have put in less time over the last couple of years, and she would have had more freedom because she's stuck in those ranks where you're actually putting in quite a bit of time. So I hope so. There's a couple things I just want to make sure that people understand. Many people, when they're running for gold and for platinum and for diamond, they actually start to fear blue and presidential because they think that it's going to mean more work for them. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm putting in 40 hours a week to get to diamond, well then I'm going to be putting in 70 hours a week once I'm blue. And the actuality is that no, if you wanted to, you could drop it down to 5 to 10 after you reach blue, because you're dealing with your leadership base is at a totally different level. Jacqueline, what are your thoughts? You might need
Sorry.
your line.
Yeah, it takes me gotta turn off Bluetooth, gotta turn off mute, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So I was going to say that the leadership convention that you did, where you talked about the difference between inspiring and motivating, is key to understanding all of this. And pretty much he had a picture. If any of you haven't seen this presentation, he had a picture of a carrot dangling and said, have you motivated people to rank or have you inspired them? And then he talked about the difference. That has really touched me. And that's really, I think, the key to maintaining a rank of like diamond and gold, or the gold, golden diamond or whatever, is inspiring people. And so I think it's important to note, and I think one of the reasons why using probably minimal time I was able to become a solid, gold rank, even with, very minimal time, was because I feel like I really did use that inspire button, and not a lot, not actually even meaning to or on purpose, but I had a pretty powerful story, and I share it, and I stopped for about a year, and boy, my team, it hurt my team dramatically. I mean, dramatically. And so I think I feel like I have a team full of people who have this just burning desire to make sure that everyone has essential oils in their life. And I think, my desire was I would talk about where my life was before doTERRA, and that I absolutely had no hope. I was 32 years old and I had no hope for a future. Not one that was full of any kind of energy, vitality, or life. And so I think that really, really spurred our team on. And then we had a lot, even from the time I was an elite, I was making sure we had monthly meetings. And I think that is, the more I do this, the more I feel like that is of key importance, that you have got to get together with, I remember my first meeting was like 3 builders. But you've got to get those meetings. You've got to inspire people. It's all about inspiration. And if you're working your tail off and you're not reaching rank, it's because you need to inspire. And I've gotten to
as opposed to motivate,
product,
right?
Yeah, and I look at the product, like you need to tell people you're going to change people's lives. This isn't just a small little thing. This isn't a retail business. This isn't, oh, this smells good. No, you're going to absolutely change their life. And you need to inspire that in people. And, at this point, I'm excited for my elites. When you're an elite, if you're a Solve elite, you get all your products for free. That means that you have literally changed in a dramatic way your family's future. And you might laugh about that and say it's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal to all of a sudden be able to introduce into your family with your paycheck and plus your loyalty reward points, free, clean, healthy, natural living. It's a huge deal. So I just had to say that. It's all about inspiration and making sure your team's inspired versus motivated.
Yes. Thank you. And by the way, if anyone wants to see the presentation that Jacqueline is describing, if you go to edgesuccess.com, there's a new banner there that's called the Leadership Academy. And the entire Leadership Academy was filmed, and it's all in 15-minute increments on that page. And so if you want to watch that, go ahead and watch that. Angie Archibald, you raised your hand. What is your comment?
Hey, well, first of all, I'll second that. I'm so glad you guys put those videos up because I didn't get to be at the Leadership Academy, and it has been lighting me up this past couple of weeks going back and watching all those presentations. But actually, I raised my hand when you were talking about, what would you call it, golden diamonds or golden diamonds.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that because I've come in contact with quite a few people who, by the technical term, are diamond or are blue diamonds, but really they haven't hit that rank in a really long time. And they are trying to rebuild their teams and get back there, but I always sense this feeling of just sort of regret in them, almost. They hit it so fast and hit it and didn't solidify it. And they're trying to inspire their team to rise up to the same rank, but it feels a little bit like, oh, but don't do it the way I did it, or something like that. And I thought about how in the times past, and maybe you can correct me on this, but in times past I've aspired to be a blue diamond. That's my goal, But I feel like now my better goal right now is to be a diamond that has 4 diamonds who have 4 diamonds, and just be the most solid diamond that has ever existed. And then maybe I'll think about going for blue, because I want it to feel, I don't want to have, like you said, you went through the ranks, and a diamond with 4 silvers is a pretty insecure place to be, because those elites don't really care. There's no bonus for being an elite, And I want to find, so that translates into me help finding and nurturing 4 leaders who don't want to just be silver, but they want to be diamonds with diamonds underneath them. And as I race towards each rank that I advance to, as I race to silver like I did, it taught me that, these legs right here aren't actually, they don't really care. Like, you built yourself to silver, but this girl didn't really help you, and she doesn't really want to help you going forward. So you got to rebuild that one. And I was so glad to know that at the time. And then you race to gold, and you realize, that lady doesn't really want to do this anymore. You got to rebuild that way. It takes a while sometimes to rebuild those ranks, but it's so important to do it. It's so important to fortify and fortify and fortify, so that the thing you're promising your teammates, this financial freedom thing, it can really happen. You're not just pretending. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And you're bringing up, you're kind of inadvertently bringing up one of the secrets to success in this whole thing. And that is that if you want to be successful, then your vision and dream has to be to help other people become successful. It can't be about you reaching your rank. It has to be about other people reaching theirs. So, like, for example, if you went out there with the message of, hey, I'm looking for 4 people that I'm going to help reach diamond. Do you want to be one of them? That is much more inspiring than I'm looking for 4 people who want to be silver so I can reach diamond. And and people want to follow, like here's an example. Since my focus has shifted since convention, as I've kind of shared on this call, many of you know, but I'm going to create a team of 1,000 diamonds. Well, now that that's my focus, I look for diamonds in everywhere. And that is one of the most inspirational messages that I can give people, is that my mission is to help 1,000 people become liberated financially. And honestly, at this stage, it isn't about the money anymore, because I have enough. And frankly, I have plenty. But what it is it's about, but if we can liberate 1,000 people, we change the world. And and that message, all of a sudden, people that weren't all that excited about reaching silver, or weren't all that excited about being an elite in the exact spot that helps you go presidential diamond, are on fire about the idea of becoming a diamond and to help liberate others as well. Okay, now we are over time, but Alonso has his hand raised, and I want to hear what he's got to say. Alonso, what's up?
So the last thing that I want to kind of share with everyone is the idea of, so we talk about like leaders and builders and all these like little terms that are very foreign to anyone that comes in brand new when it comes to doTERRA and even network marketing in general. And what I've been doing is really relating it to what they know of what that looks like. And if we can get them to understand, like, the whole idea of, like, being an employee, being a self-employed, being a business owner, being an investor, of what that actually takes when it comes to what a normal business, how a normal business runs, then there'd be no objection into what they actually have to do, because they already do it anyway. Does that make sense, Seth?
Yes, it does. I think it's kind of similar to what we were talking about. Go ahead.
Because when you say builder, when you say leader, right?
Uh-huh.
You yourself have a definition of what that looks like. But for someone that's like brand new or maybe doesn't have the experience that you have, those terms mean totally different things.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I think, and where it lines up is with if any, again, I'm going to go back to Leadership Academy. But if you watch the Leadership Academy, I taught a concept called the 4 hats, or the 4 phases of business. And the first phase is the builder phase, and then training, and then leading and inspiring. Those are the 4 phases you go through in your business. And I agree with Alonso that that would be very wise to watch that presentation, because then you can start making sense of that jargon, which is a builder. Like, what are the activities of a builder? What are the activities of a trainer? And what are the activities of a leader? And you can kind of start to see, okay, these are the activities that I'm doing, because you are dead on. I'm so thankful that you brought that up, Alonso, because I'm going to end the call with this, because we're already a few minutes over. If you are putting in the hours, so first of all, there's 3 things I want to make sure that everyone takes away from this call. Number 1, you have to put in the time. If you're not putting in the time, it just won't work, period. And frankly, none of us should accept or expect to retire wealthy on a $10 effort. It just is not going to happen. So I hope that from what you learned today is that you may have to look at yourself and say, how much time am I really putting into the business? Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is that remember when I was just mentioning the different phases of business? There's the building phase, there's the training phase. Well, the training phase of business requires that you understand the system. Become familiar with the Edge Success system. Like, for that business in a box, master it. There's a DVD that you can get at edgesuccess.com. It's the Business Builder Bootcamp DVD. If you have not been to a boot camp, or if you have been to a boot camp and you don't think that you could go train other people and do a boot camp yourself, then you probably need to watch that DVD over and over and over again until you feel comfortable in understanding the philosophies that are going to allow duplication to happen in your business. That's the second thing I wanted to make sure everybody knew. The third is make sure that you are doing the right activities. It's one thing to put in enough amount to put enough time into your business, but it's another thing to know to make sure that you're putting in the right activities at the different phases of your business. And so, again, I'm going to ask that you go watch that Leadership Academy, because a lot of the answers are there. If you feel like you're stuck at a particular rank and you're not moving on, it may be because you're comfortable building but you're not comfortable training, or that you're comfortable training but you're not comfortable leading. And then you have to learn how to inspire people as opposed to motivate. And if you can understand those concepts and start to build your business in those ways, then you're going to be able to break through and go to the next rank and lead a much more successful team. And the last thing I want to make sure you got from this call is that retirement is real. And retirement really happens when you start reaching Blue Diamond, because you've developed enough leadership in your team to where you can start to, because your team just runs without you. It's growing without you needing to be there because you've developed enough leaders. So start thinking about things like that. Have a larger vision and a purpose for what you're doing, and buy in and just go for it. So I hope you found this to be helpful. Thank you, everyone, for your comments on the call. We'll see you next week.